Expect one of those things you expect a wicket after lunch, a wicket after the break. Doesn't just come like that. Middlesex winners in their first round, Hampshire having lost to Sussex. Great leveller, the Bob Willis Trophy.
Yep, it's working really well so far. Interesting results around the country. Barker starts a new over around the wicket. Anderson pushes it to mid-on. Northeast is the fielding, no run.
I think 5 of the wins in the first round were by second division counties.
Yeah, including Middlesex over Surrey. A noteworthy result at the Oval. Other games in the South Group this weekend are Essex hosting Surrey at Chelmsford and Kent hosting Sussex at Canterbury. It's Barker around a wicket again. Oh, nearly squeezes through the gap. Anderson working it from his middle stump. Round the corner for 1. He moves to 18 at 79 for 3.
Just the reaction of the slip cordon and the keeper behind the stumps, even the way in which the batter played it himself, just seemed to straighten up quite late on. Holden did well or Anderson even did well to get his bat down in time, just turn it around the corner. Grab a single, snatch a single.
So Keith Barker, the man with the first wicket this morning. Can he add a second? Over the wicket here, cutting hard and well is Holden. Out to the rope for a nicely timed and nicely executed boundary. He moves to 35. Middlesex into the 80s, 83 for 3. Bit of width there, Isabel.
For those of you just joining the commentary, I think there's a few technical issues front, but I think you're back with us now. It's in Middlesex after lunch. They're 83 for 3. Max Holden in. Anderson as well. Martin Anderson, the youngster. 23 years old. Actually, Holden's actually younger than him, but been around, I guess, the Middlesex setup for a bit longer.
Yeah. So Barker, 33 years of age, of course, via Warwickshire. Long career. New lease of life here with Hampshire. The visitors today. Left arm over. Oh, cutting Holden in half from over the wicket. Again, using that slope that served him well. Bit of indecision. The track's still got plenty in here. The track has still got plenty in it, is it?
Oh, absolutely. And you think the footholds it's creating already, the bounce that we've seen, a lot to play for. For Dawson as a spinner, Barker coming up the hill.
Bowls. Edge, put down. Chance there for Holden. A question of whether it carried or not, but the body language would suggest it has.
Came at pace, it was low, but that's definitely a drop catch. And Max Holden, the in batter, there on 35, had a life.
So Holland in there at third slip, the all-rounder. So Barker goes again, and Holden, this time playing with softer hands. End of an over that was eventful, could have easily brought a fourth wicket. 83 for 3 remains the score though. 35 for Holden, who gets a life. 18 for Anderson. So it was a cut shot, close to his body. Got plenty on it. It was flying, it was low, but it was put down ultimately.
We saw him play a cut shot a few balls previously, very accomplished, very sort of in control one, but it's a little bit wider than what we'd seen before. At Barker, those line and length, that was a rare wide delivery from him, because this one, as we saw, the drop catch, is much tighter to his body.
Stevenson continues. First ball of a new over to Anderson, who drives to cover. Good diving stop. They'll still get one on the bobble. 84 for 3. So off strike from the first ball of the over. Nothing wrong with that. Thanks to all of you who've been in touch on social media through Middlesex_CCC during the first session. Good to have you back on our feed after lunch. There have been a few gremlins in the first session. Needless to say, the technical team have been working hard at the lunch break as Stevenson goes again. Leaving outside the off stump is Holden. We're about 250 metres away on the other side of the ground from the technical facility, of course, with the COVID safe requirements. So, but we have received communication at lunch that they have been working hard on making sure that sync is there between what we're seeing and what you're seeing, and making sure that it runs as smoothly as possible through the rest of the day and indeed the week. Of course, a lot of work needed to go into rigging up the ground here at Radlett over the last few days. So a few technical issues as they've eased into it on the other side of the ground, but rest assured we'll be here throughout these home games during the Bob Willis Trophy. Stevenson bowls here to Holden, who leaves outside the off stump.
Yeah, I think it's important to say that with none of the first class games being played at Lord's, or a sort of a first class stadium where you might have a technical things to set it all up properly. It's a huge effort getting the cameras in place.
Yep.
Social distancing requirements.
Well, the good news in our box is we've got the stream back up as well, so we'll be able to see the action back. We're square of the wicket here, so the benefit of the screen will mean that we can be as accurate as possible from our vantage point. As Stevenson now goes around the wicket, and Holden's happy to leave this outside the off stump. So that change of angle. It's been a very good restart from Ryan Stevenson, who's playing just his 6th first-class game, but he's been around for a long time. He's 28 years of age. Didn't play last week, brought back into the side for Ajit Dale today. He has 3 slips on the way and bowls. Holden with soft hands out towards extra cover, no run.
Just looked as though it picked away from the seam, angling away from the left-handed bat.
I note that he's got a first slip, a second slip and a fourth slip. You know what's going to happen, don't you? It's going to go straight between the two. It'll bisect the cordon. How often do you see it? The captain northeast throws the ball back to Stevenson, who starts his approach around the wicket to Holden. Full face of the bat to mid-on. Single on offer to Barker. They take it. They get there comfortably. The throw's wild. Could have easily ended up as overthrows, but a diving stop made by the man backing up. End of the over. 32 gone here at Radlett. Middlesex are 85 for 3 with the opener Holden on 36 from 97 deliveries. He's done the hard work. Had a chance in the previous over, albeit rather. And 19 is the score that Anderson is on. With Barker readying himself to go again. I'll pass the baton to you, Izzy, for the next 5 overs.
Tight single, but a good single to end that final over. To enjoying their time at the crease. Holden on strike. Barker, familiar sight coming in from the pavilion end. Left arm over, and there's a catch there. I think it was a brilliant diving catch, or it bounced just before the umpire's given it out. Like a dive from third slip. Holland there. He dropped on, what, 2 overs ago? Come through with an absolute cracking catch.
That's a beauty.
Way this time.
Yeah, the right hand effort diving across slip. He almost dived across to 1.5 slips. He was that far over. Just judging it perfectly, knowing that it wouldn't quite carry the end.
Question mark at first whether he took it clearly without a bounce, but he was confident, Holland, and the umpire took a while. And in the end, it's Max Holden. Middlesex's in batter is dismissed for 36. Middlesex find themselves 85 for 4.
Yeah, Holden, who gave a chance off Barker in the previous over, but it didn't cost them. Holland's right on it, diving across the cordon, making plenty of ground. And Barker, who struck in the 3rd over of the morning, picks up a wicket early in this second session as well. He's been fantastic from the pavilion and he's really earned that. And Holden on 36 from 98 balls, he falls and as Simpson walks to the crease. They've got a lot of work to do to make sure that they bat through the toughest part of the day. They've got to make it tough for Hampshire on a hot day, and if wickets keep falling, they'll find it hard to do so.
I think Barker's been my most impressive performer as well so far today. His line, the length, the bounce really has proven really uncomfortable for Middlesex. I think Barker's the one that started off that flurry of wickets early in the morning session, just really causing all sorts of problems. He had a long old spell as well. I think he bowled about 8 overs flat out.
Yep.
Up the hill as well, persevering throughout. Yes, Simpson's got some work to do.
Coming off a fantastic season last year, Simpson, he averaged 40, or 41 rather, as the wicketkeeper. Made 773 runs, an unbeaten 167 to finish the season in September. So,
half century in the first innings against Surrey.
Yeah.
Very reliable performer. Here comes Barker. Simpson waits and threw him past him, through to the wicketkeeper. That's one hell of an opening delivery to have as you walk to the crease, hey?
Barker's done that so many times. And it's just getting it to deck away and watching the replay. Yeah, that first delivery, watching it back, Simpson had to play from that angle.
Oh, it's a very much welcome to the party.
Yeah, that's right. Just getting that natural movement away from the left-hander. There was no opportunity for him to let it go, and ended up passing it about glove height. Consistent with the theme of the morning spell that Barker bowled, getting plenty of bounce as well as that nice movement down the slope.
Barker through to Simpson, again past the outside edge, and Simpson looking a bit uncomfortable, which I think most batters would be in this situation.
What a fantastic over this is. Picks up the wicket and goes past the outside edge with two beauties. The second of which here wasn't too dissimilar to the first ball that Simpson had to deal with. Maybe a fraction wider of the off stump, but still have to play at that.
Weary form of Barker up the hill. Here he comes. Simpson waits and a bit of foot movement, but this is down leg side through to the keeper. It's one of those bowlers, Barker, where you know he puts everything into the delivery, because when he's walking back to his mark, when anything outside of his actual bowling action, he looks as though he's got the world on all his shoulders and he's tired as anything. But I think it's a good, efficient energy management.
Yeah.
Here he comes again. Simpson waits, left-handed batting, takes a few strides down the crease and pushes this nicely into the offside, back beyond the outstretched bowler's hand. And I think they may be 4. The chase is on down to the boundary's edge, but it's just hit the advertising hoarding down there. And 4 runs for Simpson. He's off the mark.
From Barker, but still having the presence of mind to get on the front foot and hit through the line of the ball from that final delivery, making sweet contact down the ground. Didn't overhit it, just leant into it. Allowed the Middlesex to 89 for 4. A successful over for Barker, I should add, picking up Holden rather. Of course, if you're listening to the call or watching the feed, watching the stream through the day, Middlesex at home with perfect smile. Skipper is watching the feed in Australia right now, Chris Rogers. He's been in touch during the lunch break, so maybe Bucky, you can send us a photo of where you're watching your old teammates from this Saturday night in Melbourne.
Stevenson in, and there's a nice cut shot there from Anderson. Got on top of the ball, it was rising, it was wide of off stump, and whipped it through past backward point. 4 runs, score moves to 93. That's a nice looking shot.
Yeah, it's probably the first legitimately bad ball that Stevenson's bowled since the lunch break, isn't it? Gave Anderson plenty of time to have a look and sum up his options before carving it out past point, moving himself into the 20s.
Just popped up onto his toes. It all happened in a nice rhythmical action.
Yep.
Moves him into the 90s. Here comes Stevenson again. Anderson waits. This one, he's forward, and the ball's past the outside edge through to the keeper. No run.
And if you drop us a photo on Twitter, Middlesex_CCC, with the Middlesex at home hashtag, we will pop your photo into the stream. We'll pop a photo of Chris Rogers watching Middlesex from Australia late at night there into the feed.
Must be pretty late there. Early morning? Early morning?
No, not quite. I mean, it'll be about 11 o'clock.
All right.
11 o'clock on a Saturday, but lockdown as it is, there's not a lot going on other than to be watching the cricket, I wouldn't have thought. This time of night.
Here comes Stevenson. Anderson waits, and there's an outside edge, and it's dropped. It's like a drop by third slip there. Went through the slip cord and got run for it. And a reprieve, another one.
Yeah, after that shorter delivery earlier in the over, corrected nicely. Found the outside edge, and well, for the second time in this session, Isabel.
Looked as though it was travelling just between the second and third slip. Bit of miscommunication, perhaps. Definitely looked to have been carrying as well. Another drop. Life Anderson. 24. Stevenson now bowling to the left-handed Simpson. He waits. Thinks about playing on his back foot. Leaves it alone through to the keeper. No run.
Yeah, watching that back, a bit of confusion between first slip and second, but
yeah,
still, they need to be taken, especially on a warm day. Yes, they've done a lot of hard work so far, but as we said a couple of times, Isabel, we're one big partnership away, rather, from Middlesex having the chance to bat through the afternoon when it'll get tough, when the ball will get old.
Stevenson around the wicket, and a watchful Simpson just pushes it into the offside. Dot. Simpson more used to coming in the sort of engine room of the batting lineup at Middlesex. Usually explosive player. But now it's about dig in and stay in.
Yeah, and as I say, it's the incentives are there to do exactly that. It is tough out there at the moment to bat, no question. The ball is moving off the seam. There's plenty in this track at Radlett. Ended up pretty good toss to win, I suppose, for Hampshire getting first use of it, but it doesn't detract from the fact that it is hot. The outfield is quick, and it will get easier to bat. So they need to make every post a winner in this middle session. One good catch, but two have gone down.
Barker continuing from the pavilion end. Full and driven into the offside by Anderson. Splices in between the fielder. Cover an extra. And gets a run for it. Didn't quite time it. Slightly over pitch from Barker. 95 for 4.
Just on your screens between overs again was that Middlesex at home hashtag. Thanks to Perfect Smile. Send your photo in of where you're watching the stream, and we'll pop it up on the feed as we work our way through the afternoon.
Simpson on strike. Tall, wide stance, and he waits past the outside edge, rising delivery. Keeper jumping to take it. Just lovely shapes here from Hampshire seamer.
It's been a clinic, hasn't it?
Elegant action to watch.
Yeah, he's just bowled superbly. I mean, pretty easy approach to the crease. A lot of shoulder when he gets there, but just continues to go and go. Picked up 37 wickets last year. So a consistent campaign there, but has really started magnificently in this Bob Willis Trophy Series.
Simpson waits. Again, tall in his crease and just pushing it into the turf. No run. He's really developed himself into a mainstay of, well, I mean, all formats really of Middlesex sides. I always expect to see him on the team sheet, and he's one that he's such a skillful keeper as well. It's almost, I think many Middlesex fans will agree, it's sort of having never seen his name in contention for the England roll. It shows you the wicket-keeping stock in this country. Simpson leaves that. Outside off, no run.
Yeah, on the face of it, 7 first-class tons. He's passed 50 on 46 occasions across 156 games. So it's a pretty consistent set of numbers. 32 years of age now. The better part of 7,000 first-class runs.
Yeah, very much the mould of the modern wicketkeeper.
Yeah.
Can do both.
And often, of course, coming in at 7 rather than getting a chance in the top 6, but at 6 today.
Simpson waits, lets it sail through, gets a little bit lower, that one. Huge effort going into it from Barker. The train sails by. I wonder where that's going up towards Sheffield. Just trying to get my bearings here. I never eat shredded wheats. North, south, east, west.
We'll know the schedule by rote at the end of 4 days, I'm sure.
Barker bounding in. Huge bounce off the pitch. Through to the keeper, end of the 35th over. 95 before Middlesex. Anderson there on 25. Simpson, the new man, in on 4.
Interesting progression in the championship last year for Hampshire, wasn't it? They really gave themselves every opportunity at the back end of the comp, but they were sort of playing from behind in a way, because all of their losses came in the first part of the season. They didn't lose a game after July. They were quite consistent after that, but
too little, too late.
Too little, too late. 5 wins, a stack of draws in there as well.
Here comes Stevenson into Anderson. Crouching low, leaves it outside off. Big stride forward, no run.
They only lost to Yorkshire, Essex, who of course went on to win the competition, and Somerset, who finished second. They made the final of the Royal London Cup. Of course, Kyle Abbott was instrumental to them taking their 20 wickets time and time again. He had a game where he picked up 17 of the 20, if I recall correctly, was it? Was it 16 or 17? He had a massive game, Kyle Abbott, at one point. But not here this week.
Anderson waits and just punches it into the offside. Through all the fielders. Nice big gap. 4 more runs, thank you very much. Brings the score to 99. Absolutely zero reaction from anybody around the ground. You kind of thought, she hit that? It took me a couple of seconds, but...
Well, we're so used to seeing a deep point, aren't we, in international cricket, and especially Test cricket. It's become a position we see quite a lot, and there's no one at deep point, nor is there anyone at conventional point, and well, they didn't need to run, didn't need to walk even. It was just and again, just reinforcing that the outfield is very quick here at Radlett. Full value square of the wicket.
Stevenson comes in again. Anderson waits and sort of driven back down the ground, and this one's another 4 runs. Beautiful. Through the vacant extra cover area. He's got 1 man at cover, and he's hit 2 consecutive balls either side of him. Again, no need to run, no need to walk, no need to move. Just snap the bat, and there you go. Middlesex past the 100 mark as well. 103 for 4. Anderson moves to 33. And he, at least, is enjoying himself out there.
Yeah, well, we've said it before. It's an important innings for him. Coming in at a tough time early on. Half century last week. Still relatively new in his first-class career. Look, if Peter Hanscom was here, maybe he wouldn't be in the 11 at the moment. But due to the way that the Bob Willis season has given more opportunities to players to local players rather, with internationals not here, here is a big chance for him over the next month or so to really establish himself as a permanent member of the Middlesex side. Anderson
waits. Oh, there's no answer. Short delivery. That's the umpire signalling that. It really did rise, quite sharpish, nice straight line there as well from Stevenson. I think he been hit for 2 fours in the over.
Yep.
Bit of a reply.
He just played 2 games last year, Anderson.
Waits. Bat left high. And this one, it's got an inside edge. It streaks down to the man at fine leg. He's looking to replicate those shots through the covers from earlier in the over. Couldn't quite manage it. It's slightly back of the length, that delivery. And got some streaky run for it, or a streaky run for it. Total moves to 104. 36 overs gone. Anderson on 34. And Simpson on 4. As the sun really starts to creep into our commentary tent, I'm
yes.
further and further back.
I'm just thinking logistically how we're going to do this. I think by the end of the day we're going to be moving the entire tent back.
Simpson leaves that delivery. Through to the keeper, end of the over. 36 gone.
So 104 for 4. So important that these two can occupy the crease for a decent amount of this session. Indeed, if they can get all the way to tee, as we mentioned earlier, the pressure will transfer back onto the visitors because they've made the decision to bowl first, and if that's the way you play it, the expectation is that you go through and take all 10 wickets of the day. And look, they've started well, don't get me wrong, but this is where Middlesex just need to bide their time. Just need to occupy the crease and wait till the ball gets a fraction older. Barker's still got it moving prodigiously, but that won't be the case in an hour or two. It shouldn't be as the ball starts to wear. So Barker starting a fresh over. Over the wicket he goes, and driven nicely again from Anderson. Out through cover, timed it sweetly. Deep into the corner out there on the eastern side of the ground. And it trickles into the rope for 4. So, Anderson moves on to 38. 108 for 4 the score. He's finding the boundary was already over the last quarter of an hour or so, Isabel.
Yeah, it seems to have got into stride. I think half an hour post lunch. We're now 40 minutes in, but you feel about that mark where you thought, right, seen the ball all right. So I've lost the senior partner. That means that's me now.
Barker on his long approach. Over the wicket to Anderson, defending into the offside. Interesting that Barker is now going over the wicket to the right-handers. We saw earlier today, even from the very first ball of the game, he was around the wicket to Sam Robson and then subsequently to Stevie Eskenazi, trying to create that angle, but he's changed it up here after lunch and happy to go over the wicket, trying to get it to go back up the slope. As both of us, Izzy, move all of our possessions off the table, as it is now right in the middle of the sun, and if we don't move everything, our stream might implode with heat. Yeah. Very warm day. Barker on the angle, off the back foot, punches Anderson, but only as far as the man at point, no run. Yes, with each delivery I'm moving more and more devices. So a couple of iPads, a computer, battery pack.
I expect a gadget to my right.
Yeah. Got to come prepared for these things.
I think we needed a sundial, really.
Yeah, on reflection, maybe we should try and find a way to mitigate against this in future days, because we are really going to be a long way back in an hour or so. Barker. It's been an excellent spell. Can he strike again? Wait with this delivery on the hip of Anderson. Turned around the corner to long leg. Takes one. Considers a second. But Simpson says no. Wait there. It's 109 for 4. Anderson now to 39. Plenty of catches in the cordon there still, reflecting the fact that Barker's been able to keep the ball moving off the seam both ways. Here he is to Simpson, who's on 4. Oh, beating the outside edge. That's lovely. Again, forcing him to play, much as he did with his first couple of balls to him in the previous over. Simpson playing with a straight bat. Defending the line of the stumps, but that did plenty. So Parker to complete his over. Simpson defending to mid-on. The end of 37 overs. Middlesex 109 for 4.
A few scores from around the ground as various teams tick over that 100 mark. All for various loss of wickets. Somerset probably the most strife, 102 for 7 against Northants. Yorkshire 122 for 4 against Nottinghamshire. Worcestershire 116 for 3 against Glamorgan. Leicestershire find themselves 116 for 5 against Derbyshire.
Derbyshire, of course, who recorded that last over win.
Yes.
Most exciting.
A lot of exciting finishes.
Second last ball, wasn't it? Up there against Nottinghamshire.
Gloucestershire going well against Warwickshire, 101 for 2. And then moving down towards that southern group in the final North Group score. Durham 86 for 3.
So change for Hampshire.
Up against Lancashire. And then moving into the southern group, Essex 109 for 4, which I think is exactly the same score as we've got here right now. And Sussex 131 for 3 against Kent.
Ian Holland has been spun around, bowling the first ball of his second spell. And Anderson's defending out to the offside. So we saw Ian Holland in operation earlier from the Salters Field end, or rather from the pavilion end. He's moved to the Salters Field end. And we saw him bowl a number of massive leg cutters to the right-hander Anderson. He wasn't able to find his outside edge, but it was a very good contest. And he's resuming it here. He's got 1, 2, 3 slips, a first, a second and a fourth. He's on the way, bowls here. Pulling through square leg, making fantastic contact, racing away to the rope. That was a confident stroke off the front foot. Anderson moves into the 40s, 43 to be precise. Middlesex 113 for 4, but was struck with authority.
Yeah, but onto his toes, not letting Holland really adjust to running from a different end, different angles. Certainly a downhill trajectory for the bowler from this end. Anderson straight into him.
Holland to Anderson then, who defends under his eyes. The bowler does the work in his follow through. Ian Holland, as we were saying earlier, from Australia originally, now plays for the USA. Got his first class opportunity after winning a reality TV competition in 2012 in Australia. Won a contract. Alan Border was the coach on that. So Alan Border was the man who identified his talent. And here he is playing for Hampshire.
Pretty straight talking chap.
Yeah.
Knows what he likes.
Doesn't mess around, Alan Border, when it comes to what he likes and what he doesn't. Bowling here is Holland. Deflected towards fourth slip by Anderson on the bounce. No trouble there. James Fuller doing the work in the cordon. He picked up the wicket of Nick Gubbins earlier. The second to fall in the first session. Gubbins holding out to long leg for 8. Between balls, the helmet's coming out again. So we saw this before lunch, Isabel, where Lewis McManus decided to come up to the stumps for Holland, despite the fact that we thought he was probably the fastest of the Hampshire bowlers in that first stanza.
Is that the biggest slight in cricket?
Yeah.
When a keeper stands up to you as a seamer. Yeah. You've got a really good keeper, hey?
I suppose the plan is to keep him pinned back. Holland bowls, Anderson inside edge, spills out into the leg side, they take 1. Stevenson does the tidying up, but I suppose that keeps him pushed back in the crease. The decision for McManus to come up to the stumps. all part of the bigger picture.
Lots of collars up in the field. Say less for fashion and more for heat, sun avoidance.
Oh, beating the outside edge this time is Holland. Lovely bit of bowling to finish the first over of his fresh spell. Simpson playing down the line, but that did plenty moving away. 114